Hi, my name's Connor Gillespie. I'm going to be giving a little demonstration on how to set up GoPhish with an SMTP server locally. So the goal of this is to use these two applications to create sort of a land-based email phishing campaign. This is for an assignment for Cyber 350 at GCU. So the goal of the assignment says set up a platform to craft a phishing email with a landing page or a malware payload with a reverse shell. You can accomplish this using GoPhish, the social engineering toolkit, or other methods based on your research. You should not use the internet to send and receive emails. It was made very clear. So this is how I came up with this, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how you would complete something like this. Here's two campaigns that I sent. You're able to see them on here. You'll be able to send fake emails such as this right here. And these actually don't go out to the internet. It's all hosted on the virtual machine itself. Alright, so let's jump into it. So I have a fresh install of Kali Linux 2024. GoPhish does come pre-installed. I removed it in this case just to give you a little rundown of exactly how you would go about doing that. So we can start with installing GoPhish right off the bat. So if you just run sudo apt install GoPhish, because it's using the apt package manager, you should be able to download GoPhish. It should only take a couple seconds, and then we'll get from there once this is finished. Alright, so GoPhish just finished installing. We're going to also want to make sure that you have Git installed. So if you run git-v, that should show you the version. If you get any response here, you probably already have it installed. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to clone the repository that I have down in the description. Pulling it up right here. So you can copy this link. All you're going to do is you're going to go to the top right hand corner right here. You're going to press code. You're going to copy this link to your clipboard. And all we're going to do is we're going to make sure we're in our home directory. We're going to do git clone, and then we're going to paste in that link. So this will download our configuration files, which we're going to need. So you should see we just got phishing scenario downloaded. So if we cd into there, we can ls again, and we have our index.html and our main.config file. So we're going to come back to those in a minute. I just wanted to get this out of the way. Alright, so now to start with GoPhish. So if you just type GoPhish is just in your terminal, it should run. It's going to ask you to escalate the privileges, so you're just going to have to enter that in. You can also provide sudo in front of GoPhish, and that will do the same thing. I just was going to show it here. So you'll notice that it's going to open up your web browser right off the bat. It's going to be hosted locally as a service. You're also going to notice on your first time logging in, it's going to have a default user and a default password. So if you see something like this, it's just due to a self-signed certificate. You're just going to go down to advanced, and you're going to press accept the risk and continue. So then we're going to put that in. So admin, and then Kali-GoPhish. We're going to press sign in. It's going to ask you to reset your password. So I'm just going to call it Kali1234. So the next time you log in, you're going to have to put that in on there. So a few things that we're going to touch base on. So campaigns is where you're going to actually launch your attacks. We're not going to start there yet because we have some other things we need to set up. We have our users and groups. So these are your targets, your email templates. So these are the actual emails that it's going to be sending out. Usually they're created in HTML, so we're going to show you how to get through on that. Your landing page is the link that it's actually going to redirect to if a user clicks on it. Your sending profile is your SMTP server setup, and then the rest we don't need to worry about. So these are some advanced settings. You can touch into it if you would like, but we're not going to be touching base on that today. So first thing we're going to start with is we're going to input in our landing page. All right, so our landing page. We're going to want to go back to that downloaded repository that we had used Git for. So it's called Phishing Scenario. It should be on your desktop if you're following everything correctly here. You're going to notice we have an index.html file. So this index.html file is actually I can actually show you. If we just run it in Chromium, I can open it up. So it looks like this. So it basically just redirects the user if you click on the link to CISA.gov talking about some cybersecurity best practices. I was able to generate this, took about a second on ChatGPT, and I just tweaked it a little bit. So nothing too crazy. This is just going to be what happens if a user actually clicks on one of our links in our emails. So we're going to use this as our landing page. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to landing page. We're going to put new page. I'm going to put phishing notice, and then it's going to ask for HTML. You could do this import site button. I haven't really gotten it to work yet. So instead, we're just going to click here, and we're going to press source. And you'll see there's some HTML. You might have to press it a couple times for it to register. But we're going to just cat out the index HTML file, and we're going to copy all this code just like that. And we're going to copy the selection, Control A, Control V, paste it in here. And then you can actually press this button right here to preview it, and we can see everything is looking good. So what we're going to do is we're going to press save page down here, and you should notice we have phishing notice now as a landing page successfully added. Alright, so next up we're going to work on adding in some new email templates. So if we press the new template button, we can come up with a name. I'm just going to call it phishing email. If you have a bunch of different things, you're probably going to want to set it to that. And we're going to click import email right here. So this is going to ask for the raw email source. So what this is basically your MIME content from your actual email. So a really easy way of getting this is actually just finding a phishing email or any email in general, and then copying the raw content. So if I go to my email here, I have a bunch, this is my spam folder, but I have a bunch of stuff that's just random emails being sent to me. So this one's a cast iron casserole recipe reader. So there's a bunch of different stuff on here, and for some reason the images aren't loading, so maybe we'll pick a different one. Alright, so this is the email I chose. This is from my spam folder. It seems to be some sort of car insurance. We're just going to utilize this email to create a phishing email. So what you can do in Yahoo, at least, is you press this little thing right here, the three dots, you press view raw message, and then you're going to get something looking like this. So you should notice there's a content type. It should say multi-part. You'll also see some headers like this. This is your raw email source. This is what you're going to want to input in. So what we can do is we can copy all of this. We can go into here. We can press import raw email. We're going to want to make sure this checkbox is checked. Then we're going to press import, and boom, there you go. The full email, exact copy right here. So one of the cool things is all of these links that are on here, if you just double click on them, it actually will change it to a variable. So we're able to go in and change this in our phishing campaign so that if anybody clicks on any link anywhere in the email, it automatically redirects to our landing page. So we don't need to do anything else at this time. We could add files if we wanted to, but we're just going to press save template. So you can do this for any kind of email, by the way. So it doesn't have to just be some phishing email. It could be anything. You can also go in here and actually edit any of this text. So like if I wanted to change this to Super Reactive Resources LLC, I can just go in and click and type it in there. So let me press save template. You should see it's added successfully. And now we have our email template. Alright, so the next thing we're going to be working on is setting up our sending profiles. This is going to be our actual connection to our SMTP server. So we need to actually make an SMTP server to do this. So what we're going to utilize is something called Postfix. So we can install this using the following command. So sudo apt install postfix. You're going to accept that, and then we'll resume once this is finished downloading. So the install just completed. You might see something such as this. What we're going to want to do is we're going to press OK. We're going to go local only. Our system mail name is just going to be Cali, and then we're going to press enter. This is all going to get changed once we import our configuration anyways, so it really doesn't matter. You could have selected no configuration. It does not really matter at all. So we're going to go into our Postfix directory, so that it's in Etsy Postfix. We're going to cd in there, and then we're going to ls out the directory. So you're going to notice there's a few different configuration files. We're mainly focused on this main.cf file. So what we're going to do is we actually downloaded this in our home directory in that Git repository that we had previously downloaded. So if we navigate over there, we'll see that we have a main.config file. I'll actually open this up and explain a little bit. So basically what this is setting it to is we're creating a local server rather than hosting it on a domain. So that's why you see everything being as localhost or local domain. This is just stating that our network is only our local network. We're not going out or relaying anything. It specifies our mailbox directory that's going to be created for every user, as well as a few other SMTP settings, as well as some GoPhish settings that we need in there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this over. We're going to want to do sudo cp main.cf, and then we're going to put it into Postfix. So we're going to copy it like this. Should see it was successful. If we navigate over to our Postfix directory, ls, and nano back into that main.cf file, you should see it was copied over successfully. So now all we're going to want to do is we're going to restart the service. So we're going to use sudo systemctl restart Postfix, and then we can check the status using the systemctl status Postfix to view it. So it is actively running. So that's a good sign. That means everything was imported correctly, everything is running, and we should have no problems. Alright, so our next step is going to be actually configuring our sending profile. So we're going to press new profile. We're going to just call this Postfix. You can really name it whatever you want. Our SMTP, we're going to do Kali at localhost. And then our host is going to be localhost on port 25. And then our username and password are just going to be blank. We don't need to set any custom headers. We're going to want to make sure our ignore certificate errors is checked. This is just the default. You can just leave it checked like that. We're going to press send test email. All we're going to do is just do test at localhost, and then press send. Oh, sorry. We're going to change that to Kali. We're going to press send. Email sent. So we got a green check mark. So that means that it was able to connect to our SMTP server. Everything is working as planned, and we should be able to add this in. So we can press cancel and save profile. And our profile was added successfully. So now we have an email template created, we have the landing page created, and we have our SMTP server set up. So we're almost ready to start our first campaign. So before we start our first campaign, we have to do one other crucial step. We have to set up our users. So these are our actual targets. In this case, we're just going to send an email to ourselves. So that way it's not going to anybody else. We could create another account on Postfix and send it to that, but it's just easier for proof of concept to just send it to yourself. So what we're going to do is we're going to press new group. I'm just going to call it users. We're going to create a new user. I'm going to just call it Kali, leave the last name blank, and then we're going to do Kali at localhost. And then we're going to press add. So now you should see we have Kali at localhost. We're going to press save changes, and this will create a new group called users with one member, which is our email address. So now we are ready to start our first campaign. So to create a campaign, it's actually very simple. All we're going to do is we're going to press new campaign. We're going to come up with a name. I'm just going to call it test case. We select our template from the list, so we only have one right now, our phishing email, and then our landing page, and we only have one right now, it's our phishing notice. So now, if you recall, we had noticed that when we were creating our email template, a variable was set for every single link. So this is actually where we're able to specify our URL. So normally in an actual network, you would set this to the IP of the server that is hosting GoPhish so that it can be pointed back to it. But since we're going to be opening this email on our actual device on the same VM, we're going to want to set this to localhost. So you just do http://localhost. And this will make it so that every link on the email will automatically point to this direction. You can schedule an email. We're going to ignore that for now. We don't need to worry about that. And then we're just going to want to make sure that our sending profile is set to Postfix. We could send another test email, but we had already verified that previously, so we're going to just leave it for now. Our groups, we're going to set it to users. So this is our target, and we're going to press launch campaign. It's going to ask you if you're sure. We're going to say yes. So the campaign has been scheduled. When we press OK, it's going to refresh, and we can notice that one email was actually sent. If we scroll down, it's going to list all of our users here from our group. We can actually expand it down, see a little timeline. So the campaign was created, and then the email was sent. So our status is email was sent. So now, how do we view this email that was sent? Because we don't have a mailbox or anything like that. So where do we actually go to open this email and view it? So this is where we're going to talk about installing our email client. So to keep the process simple, since we're only using an SMTP server, Postfix actually sends all of our emails to a directory. So this was actually in the main.conf file. You'll notice it says home mailbox. This is Maildir. So every user in their home directory is going to have a directory created called Maildir that stores all of our incoming emails. So if we go to our home directory, we should notice there is a Maildir folder. So if we cd into here, you're going to notice there's a current, new, and a temp file. So these are our 3 different folders. So if we cd into new, because it's a new email, you're going to notice that there's actually an email here sent. One of these is actually going to be the test email from earlier that we sent, and the other one's our phishing email. So instead of having to deal with this, because we can just cat these files out like this, and you can see this is raw email content here, but this is kind of a pain. So why would we want to do this? Why don't we use something or a tool to help expedite this process? So what we're going to do is we're going to install a tool called Mutt. So this is just an email client that's based in the terminal, and it's actually designed for something like this where you have a directory with your mailbox. So we're going to install Mutt, and then this one's a really fast install. It's really lightweight. We're just going to go back to our home directory, and all we're going to do is we're going to do mutt-f, our home directory, Maildir. So this is giving the directory that your mail is actually stored in to the client. So when we press enter, it's going to open up this little page right here. We can actually use our arrow keys to navigate around. So we can see here's our default email from GoPhish, and then right below it, $29 a month car insurance. So this one's our test email. So we can just delete this if you just hover over it with your arrow keys and then press D, it'll delete it. So I found the problem, you just had to close out of Mutt. So you can just do that by either pressing Q and then rerunning it, or you can press Control C and doing it that way. I'm guessing it was probably loaded in RAM or something like that. So even though we deleted the file, it didn't actually delete it. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our email here. So we're just going to press enter. And then you're going to notice it says this email is only available in HTML. So what we're going to do is we're going to press view attachments, since HTML is actually an attachment on an email. So we're going to press view. And then you're going to notice there's a few different things here. Maybe it's one, maybe it's not, but we're going to be looking for that text/HTML. So we're going to scroll down to that. We're going to press enter, and then we should see some HTML code here. You can know it's HTML code because the first line should be HTML. So, or it should say doc type HTML. So you can also notice that like there's some brackets here, so you're going to see things enclosed in tags. That's often a sign that it's HTML. So what we're going to want to do is we're actually going to want to save this file. So we're going to exit back out. We're going to press I. We're going to hover back over it, and then we're going to press S to save. So it's going to say down here at the bottom, save to file. We're going to do our home directory, and I'm just going to call this HTML, email.html. So we can just type this in right here. Press enter, and it says attachment saved. So now we can close out of Mutt. We've downloaded our email in HTML form, so we can just press Q, I, and then Q again. If we list out our directory, you should notice there's an email.html file. We can actually use Chromium to open this file and view the contents. And there we go. So here's our Insurify phishing email. So if we click on any of these links, it should point us to our link that we had set in our campaign. So in this case, it was localhost. So if we press on it, we get redirected to localhost, and oops, you've been phished. So everything worked successfully here. So we were able to create a new email template, create a landing page, set up an SMTP server, define our targets, view the email in an SMTP client such as Mutt, open the email, render the email, and track everything from there. So if we actually go back into our timeline, this was from me testing earlier, but this was our most recent open. So it tracks our version history, our OS version, our browser, tells us when they clicked it. We can see emails open, clicked links. There's some other features in here where you can track like data that's been submitted in a form. So it's a very simple process. It's not too difficult. And it's a really valuable tool for something like this where in a sandbox you're wanting to test an actual red teaming tactic. So with that, I think that's our conclusion. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find my email on my GitHub or my LinkedIn. And yeah, I hope this helps clarify. Thanks so much for watching.